So, Marc, thank you so much for hopping on with me this morning to talk. And I'm excited about you playing or being part of the Northern Arts Festival. How long have you been performing?
I've been performing for probably around 40 years, believe it or not. Not particularly with this group here. Dual Play's been in existence for about a year and a half, actually. It's the
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of like the baby of a previous project we used to have that was called Roller Rink Rewind, which worked a lot with every performance group, and we were a retro dance band, and we just decided to venture out into a different avenue, music-wise.
And how did you get started with music 40 years ago?
I was a singer who took up the bass guitar because nobody else wanted to play bass guitar, oddly enough, and that seems to be the story of many bass players, and started playing in an original francophone band where we used to write our own music and tour and do concerts a bit everywhere, and then eventually progressed into bar bands doing covers and classic rock and progressive rock and that type of thing, and then that evolved over the years into all kinds of different bands. I played in francophone, anglophone bands, different style, popular, rock, progressive, and then eventually my collaboration with my partner Mario Taifa, who's part of the group Dual Play with me now. We met it's actually 20 years now this year that we've been collaborating together, and it was just a natural evolution to move towards this style of music. So he's been playing as well for about 40 years, so a lot of musical experience between the two of us.
Yeah, and a variety too.
Absolutely.
What is your favorite style of music to play or to perform?
You know what? I've always been more into the rock genre, but I'll tell you, since meeting Mario, he's such a devout country music fan and whatnot. And I mean, he's recorded, albums and toured with some very, big names and whatnot. So I've really gained, like, I grew up on country music, but I've gained an appreciation for it and playing it as well from a musical standpoint, just understanding all the different nuances for a bass player and relearning what I thought I already knew is always an interesting process. So yeah, I would definitely say it's become a very close style to my heart now.
Oh, that's great. So how do you think that being a Northerner shapes you as an artist, and even how you perform and the way you perform and where you perform in this community?
Well, actually, it's both an advantage and a challenge. And what I mean by that is the challenge obviously is the distances. Remote northern communities are a bit more remote or whatnot. So when things are happening within the greater Sudbury area, it's great to be able to travel. And thankfully, there are a lot of venues and, groups like the Sudbury Performance Group that provide different opportunities for artists to play, in bars, in restaurants, and halls, and so forth. And that's not always available everywhere you go. But then when you're traveling, if you're considering Sioux, Timmins, or whatnot, there's a lot of distances to travel between gigs, and that can always make it challenging. Add winter to that, and you've got a great concoction for some pretty interesting travels once in a while. But the advantage also in the northern community is the fact that we have a very strong francophone presence. So to be able to play in both English and French for those who are bilingual is definitely an added bonus. And for dual play in particular, because the name dual play itself is we are two guys, but we also play two styles of music, which is the country and the retro classics, but we also play in English and in French. So it was very, very fitting. We're a fully bilingual band. So that gives us a lot of opportunities, particularly in the northern setting.
That is incredible. What do you think when you're performing? What are some moments or times that you can think of when you knew that you really connected with the audience that have just stuck with you? And it could be as far back as 20 years ago, but just some of your favorite experiences performing for audiences.
With experience, you kind of gain the ability to read your crowd and to really see what is connecting with them and what are those classics that not only sound good here, but sound good hear, and in their heart, and that evoke memories and that bring back feelings of maybe better days gone by or whatnot. So when you see the crowd singing along to the songs that when you're making out your set list and you're planning it out and going, oh, they would like this one and they would like that one, and it might be an older crowd, so how about we pull this one out as a surprise and so forth. When you see the reaction to that, and you see it in their eyes, and you see them singing and tapping along, or even with our style, a lot of line dancing. People just get up and instinctively start moving and line dancing. So that kind of energy just feeds you. And it also informs your next decisions, because you go to a next concert and a presentation that you're going to do, and you go, oh, that one went over really well at such a place. I think it'll work here. So it keeps us constantly in a dynamic mode. We're always adapting what we're doing. And sometimes during the evening, when you thought that this was going to be the way it should go, and you're kind of reading your crowd, you can adapt on the fly. So we have such a large repertoire of songs that we can just flip and choose as needed. And that, I think, gives us the advantage. So the experience, I think, plays a lot into that component.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like whoever comes to see you perform next week is going to just have a great experience. So what are you looking forward to most about being part of the Northern Arts Festival?
Well, we've always had a great relationship with Marc and the team over the years, and playing many different venues or whatnot. We actually launched our last band, and we're going back, oh my goodness, to 12 years ago, as a collaboration with Marc. We launched a big, it was a big launch party or whatnot, and we just always have done really well. So whenever Marc reaches out to us, we always know it's going to be an interesting situation and an interesting crowd that we're going to play to. So we played at the Trevi before, so we know the crowd that's there, and that they're there to have a good time. So we're looking forward to really connecting with the crowd on Saturday, February 17th, and hoping everybody's going to have a great time. Bring their cowboy boots or whatnot, and their singing voices, because they'll be singing and dancing all night long. There's no question there.
Yeah, I'm sure that they will. Well, Marc, it was so nice to talk with you. Thanks for taking the time to do it, and thank you so much for being part of the Northern Arts Festival.
Thank you, and thank you for having us.
Yeah, you're welcome.